Hi, I'm Allie Carthright, mindset coach. When I started working with Laurie-Ann, I was lost as to what exactly I needed to do to meet my lofty speaking and business goals. I had no real sales process set up, and she taught me her easy and effective sales strategies. I got booked to speak and attracted my ideal clients. My calendar is now wonderfully full. Thanks, LA.
I'm going to tell you something that most speakers won't admit, and a lot of speaking coaches won't tell you either. Your speech doesn't need to be perfect. Nope. It doesn't even need to have a standing ovation. Nope. What it needs is to move the right people a few inches closer to saying, "How do I work with you?" And that moment doesn't happen by accident. That moment happens when you are saying the right phrases that sound very conversational, because there's a lot of meeting planners out there who have been burned by speakers who gave 45, 50-minute infomercials. And we have to be considerate of that. And it's not about being overly charismatic or clever or even stuffing more value into your speech. It's about planting the right phrases, saying the right things that make your offer feel like it's the obvious next step. No pressure, no big pitch deck, just natural conversation that converts your audience. So in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing 3 powerful phrases plus a story idea that you can start using right now to spark those easy yeses from the stage without sounding like you're a walking sales funnel. So are you with me? Fantastic. Now, if you're a coach, a consultant, or a service provider, let me tell you, you are in the right place, because this podcast is all about how to leverage public speaking events to be your best form of marketing, attract those perfect clients, and help you monetize your message. I'm your host, Laurie-Ann, and I am a reformed, painfully shy girl who said yes before she was ready to a speaking event and accidentally became a professional speaker. Let's dive into today's topic. One of the things that I help my clients do is set these 2 goals. And I know I've talked about them recently, but just in case this is the first episode that you're ever listening to of my podcast, I just want to go over what those 2 goals are. I always want my client, my student, like, you're the speaker. So the speaker has a goal for themselves. What do you want out of this speech? And then what do you want the audience to get after they finish hearing you speak? What do you want them to believe, to feel, to do differently? You need to set those goals first, and that becomes the finish line. So now we know where we are. We're in the beginning of the speech. Here's our point A, and we got to get to point B, the finish line. So now we have a destination. And so as we are crafting your speech, this is what I have all of my clients do. Every story, every fact, every anecdote, every metaphor, like, it has to align with the goal. Is it going to get us there? Is it something that's naturally going to happen along the path from point A to point B? If yes, great, it stays. If no, then it goes. Same thing for your stories. Your story has got to be the right story that sends the right message. Don't tell a story for the sake of telling a story, and there's absolutely no point in it, and there's no lesson for this particular audience. You want to make sure that you tell the right story. And I also want to encourage you that your story needs to be impactful. It needs to hit them in their heart, their mind, their soul. And a well-crafted story does all of those things. Now, stories are extremely powerful, and you can use the same stories again and again and again with different audiences. In other words, you can tell the same story again and again, because the more that you tell the same story, the better you get at delivering that story. And I want to share one of mine with you. Now, this is a story that I didn't tell for years. I didn't tell it when I was in leadership, and this is something that happened to me a long time ago. I never really thought it was a great story until I started to work on it and craft it And I actually even worked with Adam Oline. I had him as a masterclass for in-demand signature speech. He's one of the bonuses. I asked him to help me with this story. But my first question to him was, is this a story? And his answer was, yes, this is a great story. I still remember the sound of silence. I walked into class like any other day. Same uniform, same hallway, same classmates. Except today was different. They didn't say a word. No highs, no good mornings, not even a wink. It's like they were looking right through me. Like I didn't exist. Back then, the word bullying wasn't used, so I just called them mean girls. And on that random Tuesday, I became invisible. I stopped raising my hand. I stopped trying to fit in and belong. And I found the school library and buried myself in books. Because books don't judge. Books are a solo activity. And that worked until it didn't. Because when you silence yourself long enough, you start to forget what your voice even sounds like. And I forgot what mine sounded like. Have you ever shrunk yourself in a room? Have you ever forgot what your voice sounded like? Have you ever played small because someone made you feel like you didn't belong? Or you didn't say what you wanted to share online because you were afraid of being judged, afraid of what others would think, afraid of what they would comment? Well, that scared teenage girl still lives in too many of us. Except now she's trying to grow a business and she's trying to attract her dream clients. She's trying to lead with her head down and her voice muted. It took me years to lift my head back up, to look people in the eyes, and to believe that I belonged in the same room. And it didn't happen in therapy or some big aha moment. It just happened the day that I decided to share my story out loud on a stage for the first time. And I didn't think it would be any big deal. But one woman came up to me with tears in her eyes and said, I thought I was the only one. And that's when I realized our story isn't for us. It's for the people that we are here to serve. I want you to know your voice matters. Your story matters because it's your lighthouse. It's how your perfect clients are going to find you in the storm. Now, true story about that story, the very first time I used it was because I was talking about selling and speaking on stages. And I told that story for the first time because I thought, wow, like this happened to me. I was bullied, although I called them mean girls, and it kept me quiet. How do you grow a business when you were taught to be quiet? When that little scared, quiet, put my head down teenager is still inside of me. The ending of that story is true. I didn't realize how powerful the story was until I actually said it out loud, used it. Because let's admit it, sometimes us speakers can make things look really good and easy. And your audience can be judging you based on what you tell them or what you don't tell them. So that particular story really draws the right people into me, the people who, wow, I am quiet. I've had a moment like that. That's the power of your story. And that's one of the ways that you really can get people to connect with you more. And that way, when you make your call to action at the end, it's so easy for them to say yes. Now, what should you be offering from the front of the stage? I like to keep things very simple. And I want it to be something that's like a free download, a free call with me, something that doesn't require a big paycheck. because I would rather somebody, and this is what I encourage all my clients to do also, encourage like the little yes. Let me get on a call with you. Let me take that download. Let me learn a little bit more because there's a lot of people I've been burned. That's the thing, like that us speakers and coaches and consultants, we have to remember that people have been burned and we have to take that into consideration and help them build more trust with us. And so having something that's super easy for people to say yes. And if you listen to my last month's speaker circle, I talked about the 48-hour persuasion window. When people really are excited after they hear you speak, that 48-hour window, not only should they get the download, but there should be 1 to 2 other emails that are going out to them as well. So, first part that I want you to think about is, what do I want my audience to say yes to? What's going to be your call to action? What is something super simple that's an easy step for your audience? What we want the people that are in your audience thinking about after you make your call to action, is this the right move? Does this move me in the right direction? Yes or no? And so if it's a yes, they're going to take that step forward with you, start building a deeper relationship with you, build that know, like, and trust even further. Now, the next part that I want to share with you is really selling without selling. So the story that I told just a few minutes ago, I mean, that tells the story about this little girl and how I was bullied back in school. That scared teenage girl is still here inside me. And she's trying to build a business. She's trying to get people to say yes to her. She's trying to lead with her head down. How hard is that? It's pretty darn difficult. So think about that. What story can you tell that actually sells without selling? I always tell clients to, like, as you're crafting your signature speech, I want you to come up with stories that help overcome the objections that your audience is thinking, feeling, and believing about themselves. I have a story about Kim who hired me even though she was afraid of public speaking. As a matter of fact, she quit her corporate job to go start her own job because she was like, I'm not going to do this public speaking thing, because she didn't want to speak at meetings. But then she got tired of fear running her life and decided to get over this fear of public speaking. I won't tell you this story, but it ends with her being on TV 5 different times while we were working together. She got paid to write a book, and she is now known as the famous home organizer in her city. So tell the right stories. And then there are certain ways to word things from the stage. I have a PDF that you can get if you haven't gotten it already. It's 17 magical phrases that you can say. And I actually give you actual examples and when to use them. So you can get that at speakandstandout.com/magic. But you want to say key phrases like, if you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. And that's exactly why I created XYZ. So if you've ever felt like you didn't know what to say on a speech so that you could convert more of your audience, don't worry, you're not alone. And that's exactly why I created 17 magical phrases. Here's why that works. It normalizes the pain that your audience is going through. And it also presents the offer as a solution. Again, the more that you say these lines, it becomes very conversational and it's very easy to say. Use that after telling a story, or you've already identified a shared struggle between you and the audience. Remember, part of that phrase was, if you've ever felt that way. We're sort of referring back to the story that might have just been told. Here's another one that I really, really love. I go deeper into this inside my blank program. I dive deeper into this inside my directory of places to speak. I dive deeper into this on episode number 306 so that you can find other stages that you can be speaking on. I mean, it just makes it so easy to say. Another one that I like to use, and it also helps you transition into your call to action, is I will share with audiences There is no way that I can share 25 years of public speaking experience with you in 30, 45, 60 minutes, however long I've been booked to speak for that particular audience. I just let them know. And when you say something like that, like, there is no way that I can cover everything, that lets the audience know, oh, there's so much more. And that's when you can say, make your offer. That's why I have this. That's why you can go download that. You give them options. You give your audience an option to dive deeper, continue the learning with you. I've been up there in front of audiences and offered people like this is what I do. This is what I do for people. So if this is something that you want to do more of, then book a call with me. Just raise your hand. Like I have been at in-person events. Raise your hand and let me know if this is something that you want to do. And I will always get at least 1 to 2 people who will raise their hand and say, yes, I want to book a call with you to learn more and understand how you can get me from point A to point B. Don't be afraid to try these things, because when you're afraid to try these things, your audience senses that fear. And then when you like kind of mumble about well, I have this little PDF that you can go sign up for at this particular URL. Like, don't wonder why nobody signed up, because you mumbled about it. You're not that excited about it. Be excited about your offers. The more that you're excited about your offers, the more your audience is going to be excited about your offers, and they're going to want to take you up on that. If you want to be converting more of your audience and you want to know exactly what to say, I'm going to suggest that you go download those 17 magical phrases. You can get that at speakandstandout.com/magic. And I actually give you examples on how to use this. I give you my examples that I would use if I was giving a speech and I was using these lines. So go grab that so that you can start converting more of your audience, whether you are speaking in person or virtually, you're on a podcast, you're guesting. I do this all the time. And I get people who book calls with me saying, how did you do that? I had no intentions of getting on a call with you, and here I am on a call with you. And I giggle because I hear that a lot, but that's the magic of those phrases, those magical phrases, and also using them and making them sound oh so conversational. So I hope this episode has not only inspired you, but I hope my story made you feel something. And that's what having a great story will do for you. And knowing, like, where is our finish line for the speech? What is it that I want to get out of this? Don't wing it anymore. You want to get visible? Let's get you visible. But let's get you visible with a strategy so that you have more people that are raising their hand, downloading your lead magnet, and booking calls with you. I mean, after all, that's what you're in business for, is here to help more people. So tell your story and be that lighthouse so that you attract the right people and you let people know. That's what these magical phrases are. It's you not being afraid to share how they can work with you, how you can help solve their problems, their pains that they are sick and tired of having. So I will get off my soapbox here now and wrap this episode up. And I will share with you one other way that you could actually, one, be a part of the podcast and be a part of a private training. And that is my speaker circles. You might have listened to some of those episodes. They're clearly marked. And this is an intimate training that I do. There's no cost to join this training. And it's very intimate because everybody gets to go around the room and introduce themselves. And this whole training gets recorded and put onto the podcast. So you can check out one of the other speaker circles, or you could sign up at speakandstandout.com/community for the next one that's coming up. I do this once a month. I'm usually training on a particular topic for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I open it up to the room. You get to ask me questions on that topic. And then we do a little bit of networking because I believe that speakers need to know speakers. And so we go around the room and you share who you are, who you help, and most importantly, what you speak on. So feel free to go sign up for that. And all the links that I have mentioned, like the magical phrases and also the speaker circle. Those links will be down below. And until next week, I want you to be in demand. Hey, before you go, are you still the best kept secret in your industry? And what would be different if more people actually knew how good you are? Well, introducing In Demand, my monthly membership for coaches and consultants just like you who are ready to stop hiding and start using speaking to grow their business. You don't need more items on your to-do list. You need visibility, confidence, and clients. And that's exactly what In Demand helps you build. One member actually said this gave me the confidence to land my first paid speaking gig. If you've been thinking, someday I'll put myself out there, today is the day. Doors are now open, and you can join us for our next live training at speakandstandout.com/IND for in demand, and that link is down below. Your audience is waiting.